All right, everybody. Thanks for joining, and hello from Trusted IT Group and from myself. My name is Alex Rodolph. I am delighted to have you all here today, and I'm gonna quickly do a check on the audio and video before we start. So let me just do a quick check, one, two, three, and get a little bit of a feedback from my colleague here who's gonna tell me that it's all good. Okay, all right, and we're on. Perfect. So again, thanks everybody for coming today to our weekly series of project online demos, and the topic we have different flavors every week, but basically we're doing this weekly, and we would also at the end of the webinar we're going to make it a 30-minute webinar, very short. We're going to conscious everybody's time, touch upon many things here, as many things as we can, and open the floor for questions. With that being said, let me start the webinar. Again, the topic of today is Project Online. Some of the news, maybe some of the features and demo of Project Online. My name is Alex Rodolph. I am a certified PMP, project management professional, certified Scrum Master, and Microsoft technology specialist, and 4 years project MVP, most valuable professional, recognized by Microsoft. So we're also a gold partner in project management competency of Microsoft. With that being said, we have a lot of these things going on, like webinars and communications with Microsoft. We work very, very closely with Microsoft on developing and following that journey of the project portfolio management. So anyway, with that being said, let me get to a few things about ourselves. Trusted IT Group, as a gold partner in Microsoft, we are very pleased to have all kinds of services that Microsoft will call it the ecosystem of different applications and services around the Office 365 and cloud that we bring to the table. See that here, the project, the flow, concepts of integration, the reporting in the Power BI, the Microsoft Dynamics suite of products, Visual Studio, DevOps, SharePoint, Planner, Azure, all of these services. Please feel free to reach out to our sales team. We'll be happy to address any questions. With that in mind, a few talking points about the whereabouts of our consultants and our companies. We're very much diverse in terms of the geographical locations. We're happy customers. Please feel free to join and come on board with us to the technology road. Okay. A few things about the some of the research. Again, before we jump into the demo, we do have the PMI, Project Management Institute, to come up with some of these results, where we would see the how many projects are conducted versus projects are aligned with the strategy. So basically, there are 43% of survey companies reported high alignment between projects and strategy, and only 62 of projects meet their goals, and the number of essentially unchanged since 2012. So anyway, what it does say is it's an untapped potential. So no matter what and how we do, we still have a lot to cover in terms of doing things, doing the right things and doing things right, in a sense, right? So there's even though the projects that we're conducting, especially in the larger organizations, we're facing the situation where we may not be doing the right projects, and if we're doing the right project, they may not be necessarily 100% aligned with our strategy. Anyway, with this being said, I am going to dive into a quick demo, and the flavor of today's demo is going to be around the Office 365 and and around teams. Overall productivity is very, very fresh these days, and we are looking forward to be productive. So I'm going to start with the Office, Office.com, right? And from Microsoft perspective, the Office is the this core tool set of the productivity. And within the Office, we do have we're logging into our Office, and we do have all kinds of applications, and we can look at different apps and tools that comprise the ecosystem of the Office 365. And you'll probably ask the questions like, where's the project stands here? And if I look at all the apps, and I can see the entire stack of different apps that are available to me as part of the Office 365, I do have different subscriptions, right? As it's based on the subscription. If I do add the Project Online subscription to my Office 365 tenant, then I will be able to use this additional apps. So this project is basically an app, and right now I can get into different projects. I can get to this very new homepage of the very new homepage of my project ecosystem. But I can also get to my test environment, and this is what I'm going to get to right now, which is the test environment that's called first. I do specifically want to skip the homepage experience just for now, because this may be deserving a separate follow-up conversation. But I do want to cover quite a bit of the general functionality of the Project Online. So this is essentially your Project Online homepage, and you can from this homepage you can see a lot of different things, like major modules would be the Project Center. I go and click on this link that says projects. I can click on it here, or I can go to the Project Center, which will essentially land me on the same place where I would be able to see the core feature of the Project Online, or Project Server in a sense. This is where I can see all my projects in one place, right? And this is where I can see all my projects in one place, and pull out some of the key milestones from my projects into this timeline. So I can pull either the entire project, or just say I'm going to pull this AI heart projects into my timeline. So I can just do the right click, or actually just select the row and say add the project to the timeline. If I add this project, now it's iHeart project showing up on my timeline. So I can also remove this from the timeline, right? Or I can pull a specific, let's just say from this AI pharma project, I'd like to add a specific task from this one project. So I select this project and then add the task. So now it's going to look into this AI pharma project. It will give me the options to pick the task from that AI pharma project. And while it's doing that, so now I can look into this and say maybe I like to put the closing project complete. Let's just put this task, put this one task up there. So go project complete. Right. So now I pull this one project complete from the project iPharma. So I can put some of these milestones here, and I can drag them a little bit here. I can make them more appealing looking, and things like that. Anyway, so this is the feature of the Project Center. So what I'd like to show also, how we can get the same type of experience, but without going to a URL or maybe using the browser, at all. I'd like to do, as I mentioned in the very beginning, I'd like to show this. Let's show this through the Teams. So I'd like to open my Teams application, and here's within Teams. Again, this is part of the Office 365 application, which is coming in 99% of the cases comes free with the general Office 365 subscription. E3 would cover it, etc. So within the teams, you may be a member of several teams like this. And we have different teams where I can be a team member of this project delivery team or marketing team. And now I am the member of this concept project management office team, right? So I'm gonna I'm going to open this team, and within team, I can obviously have all kinds of standard, communication. I can have some chat windows here. I can have some files, etc. I click on the PMO channel, and these are channels within this one team. So within this channel, I can have different tabs, and I can have the tab for the conversations. I can have the tab for files where I can keep my PMO standardized templates, or maybe some documents, or maybe something that I'd like to keep for my team available and in their fingertips. I can also display some of the Power BI reports. So I can what I did is I baked in baking into here the Power BI reports. What I can also do is I can bake in here the project center, and then you'll be able to see that the same project center that I just did, and with the iHeart, AI Heart project, and the changes that I did all traveled all the way to my teams. Basically, because essentially this is the same web application I'm using. I'm just looking at this through the teams. So without leaving the teams, meaning that I can go back quickly to my meetings. I can go back to my teams. I can go back to my chat and chat with my team members. I can quickly get to the information about the project by looking at this here. But you may say, well, this is too congested, maybe just too many windows in this one little window here. You can always expand the tab, get a little bit more real estate. And within this one project, even though this left navigation may not bring you much value as far as content, you can also expand this one to even further. So now you almost have the entire screen of yours available for you to start working on the project. And again, you have not left the teams here. You're still within the teams. If I go back, I can see more team channels here, and I can still drill into different tabs. Let me see if I can still, probably need to fix this Power BI report. Here's Project Center. So now we can also go to a project requests. And again, this is part of the Project Online stack, where you will be able to create those these forms when you can collect the requests. And this request may come from the SharePoint site, or this request may come from something else. You can make the request to come from the Power Apps using your phone. There's a lot of good options that you can use to create the request. Also within the PMO, you can quickly get access to your business drivers, and again, the business drivers would be the business drivers would be the feature of the Project Online, and you can get to those, right? There we go. Finally, thanks. It's loaded. Now we can look at the business drivers and look at the which is basically a list of the strategic objectives for the business, and this is what we're going to be able to align our projects and score our project against this business drivers. Also, if we switch here as one of the channels, as one of the tabs on this PMO channel, we'll be able to look at the specific portfolio analysis and quickly get to understand, quickly run some of the scenarios, or maybe compare some of the scenarios and say, well, this is the budget for the next year. If we're meeting with someone and we'd like to plan the scenario and run the scenario where we would cut the budget in half, or just say 400,000, what would be the ramification of that action? So recalculate this, and I can see that if I cut the budget in half, these are the projects that the tool would suggest you would want to exclude from the selection, and the ones that you'd like to include. So it would basically come up with a combination of the best bet for the buck, the best bang for the buck, right? So you can get 73% of your strategic value by spending only $394,000, right? And it can tell you which projects we included. So it probably obviously kicked out the expensive project, which doesn't bring too much of the strategy to the table, right? But if this is a project that has to be selected, you can force some of these projects in and say maybe this is an executive priority project and recalculate this, and that would give you a better, that would give you another scenario, right? Not the better scenario, but another scenario where in which that particular project would be actually forced included, and then there would be playing scenario with that scenario. You would have to spend this much money, still under 400,000, but you would not be able to get as much of the strategic value. Anyway, so this is giving you the options to kind of play with your portfolio of projects. And again, this is without even leaving the teams, right? I can do the same things within the browser, but I'm just going to show. The way I'm showing this demo right now, I'm showing this information through the lens of Teams, right? So we looked at this from the PMO kind of overarching perspective, but now there have different options to look at this through the lens of resource manager, or through the lens of the project manager or agile members and things like that. So let's just take a look. From the resource manager's perspective, I have, again, this is the channel, and I have different tabs here. I can also, as a resource manager, I can look at the list of my resources. I can look and say, okay, who's add a new resource, edit resource, do the bulk edit of these resources, maybe change the timesheet manager, or change the email addresses, things like that. I can manage my resource pool. I can look at their capacity. I can look at some of the assignments, things like that. As a resource manager, you may also want to look at some of the additional features and apps that you may display here that would allow you to show some of this information in a more graphical way. And if I just expand the real estate a little bit more, you can look at this and say, okay, I'd like to maybe look at my engagement, see the heat map, look at how much different I need to play this scenario. Maybe I need to replace this resource. This is overbooked resource. I can drag and drop folks here and quickly mitigate some of these over allocations, and then save the scenario. So I can quickly get to some of these additional tools that I can use for my resource balancing purposes. Okay, so that's a resource manager world. And obviously, a resource manager, sometimes if they go to this project tab, they can also look at the portfolio of projects, obviously. Again, this is all based on the permissions. You may not want to show everything to everybody. That's up to you, the way you set this up. Then the project managers, they are maybe focused on specific projects. Maybe there's a few top projects that you want to put on display here on the very top. You can also look at and build some SOPs, standard operation procedures. Maybe for project managers, this is how we do our process. Maybe put some playbook information. This is the way we do projects, programs, etc. From the by model project schedules, you can look at and see how you can combine the schedules where you have agile, a mix of agile, waterfall, and fragile. Sometimes some people call it fragile. Mix of waterfall and agile projects, where you'd be able to kind of link the tools from Jira, from VSTS, DevOps, and Azure, things like that. This is where you can post some of these meeting notes that are shareable, and then that's a great way of sharing some of these meeting notes and workbooks, the OneNote books. And then if I switch to the Agile team member, so this is very interesting from the Agile team member perspective. You can have different connectors connecting your different objects. I'm just sign into this. I'm going to use the same sign-in credentials as I'm using for my corporate email account. So I'm Alex here. So here I go. Without leaving Teams, I can get access to my specific project within the DevOps, Azure DevOps, and I can right from here I can have my Scrum team meeting without leaving Teams. I can right then I can open the conversation and say, hi, let's let's talk about this, right? And and then we can have a quick chat with the team, and the team could be anywhere in the world, and you can quickly get to this information from Teams. Again, this is all kind of overarched by the this project online concept, where you'll be able to collect all the information under one umbrella. All right, you can have all kinds of additional boards. You can have a planner board here, and again, without leaving Teams, within this one channel, I can have these different tabs that they can switch between, and I can quickly get to the planner, to the to the team with just renames to VSTS DevOps, and I can get to Jira, right? And there's live feed, real time feed from. Well, I mean, as I said, I don't have any issues there. Open right there for now, but I like the name of this project though. Anyway, if we quickly get to move on to the next channel, which is Waterfall Team members, I can look at some of the specific tasks. I can look at some of the specific timesheets. I can basically work on my project, work on my schedule, work on my progress updates right from the Teams. I can just click on this to get a little bit more real estate. I can fill out my timesheet from the same spot within the Teams, and you can see that it's the same application. If I just switch back quickly, I'm just switching to my browser, right? I can get to my timesheet right from here, from this left navigation, and that's basically the same content, the same application, the same, everything is the same basically. What I see here in the browser versus if I switch back to my Teams, this is the same thing that I see here, right? So the difference is that I can really bake my project online, areas, my project online modules into the Teams. And obviously, we're as a Microsoft Gold partner in PPM space, we are happy to assist our customers in setting this up within Teams. This is the example of how you can collaborate within Teams, having this SharePoint workspace for a specific project, and you can have all these documents, all the risks and issues, all the action items, all the change requests, all in one spot, and you can have this very nicely organized, and you can have access to this and manage and add a new one and update this one and update the documents by multiple users. It's all the features of the Office 365 and Project Online. All right, so switching to other channels here, the Training Center, where we have all kinds of different YouTube channels. So you can post some of these videos on your own stream Office 365 channel. You can have a lot of this information again baked in and organized in the Teams. You can have the PPM training or PMP trainings all listed here. The support channel is going to give us the access to create support tickets and ask questions, and maybe have a wiki of mostly common questions. This is the way we do our managed services for our customers. When there's a question, we respond to the tickets either requested by this form, or the tickets could be requested by the email. We have the sales team, and there is interesting the connectors that are out there. For example, we have a number of reports coming from connected MailChimps or other sales tools or marketing tools they can have out there. The PPM nursery, this is where we would call this and call our assessment tool, where we would be able to run some of our assessment apps, where we can kind of benchmark our PPM process against the industry standards and see how we're scoring as a PPM process, as a PMO organization against the standards. All right. So at this point, I do want to kind of keep it concise and quick, but I do want to show you the reports, right? Because we haven't touched the reports just yet. But let me quickly get to reports, and here I can probably get to my reports over here, and there we go. So I can we can get to some of the reports. This is the standard reports pack where you can download and use it. This is free, available on GitHub or through Power BI. You can add this. All right, it sounded like I lost the audio a little bit, but can you hear me okay now? Say yes. Say yes in the window chat window here. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? All right. It sounds like you can hear me. So I'll just continue. So the portfolio dashboard report will give you an overview of the dashboards. You can quickly get to certain information. You can quickly filter and say how many enterprise projects, how many marketing projects, how many PMO projects we have, things like that. So this would be the active filter. The portfolio timeline reports, where you'd be able to look at the timeline and see, see what's going on in December, Q4 2018, things like that. You can look at the portfolio cost report, and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of these reports that are available out of the box. If you do have any question about any of these reports or specific point about Project Online, please feel free to contact us. We will schedule one-on-one and answer all the questions. Again, we're working very closely with Microsoft and SSPs, Microsoft sales professionals, to work with the customers to make sure the questions are answered and you have a good experience with the solution. In the meantime, I would try to open the floor for any questions. Let me try to do that. Let me try unmute all the audience. If you have any questions, there's a hand raised from one, and if you have any questions, please feel free to put your question into the chat. I guess that would be the easier way to get the question. All right, so sounds like we don't have any questions at the moment. So again, thanks everyone for stopping by today, and we're happy to have you here. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll be looking forward to for the next weeks to come, and we'll do a little bit more of the news and what's coming up for the Project Online, with the new features that have been rolled out recently, and the new features that are coming up in November. So that's a very exciting news. Anyway, well, again, thanks everybody for coming, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye.